when you know the rules of the game,
Yes.
you can play the game more efficiently and really learn how to have your cake and eat it too. We're here in Denver. We're here with Kassidy Benson. And Kassidy, you were just sharing with me as a real estate expert here in Denver, some really cool things about just like why don't we start about talking about the community in Denver. Tell us a little bit about like what your experience has been like, what kind of families you've been working with, and what that's been like.
I'm a Colorado native, and it's kind of a joke when people ask, they're like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I'm from Colorado, and they're like, "Oh, this is so surprising! Like, you rarely meet a native."
Interesting.
We have a huge influx of people coming from all over who are landing in Denver, and a lot of people coming from the coast. This is a really affordable place, and they're really coming here for the lifestyle. So
Yeah.
I focus on working with investment-minded millennials buying in city center neighborhoods.
Love it.
So I don't typically sell a lot of condos. It's more like single-family homes with a little bit of land.
That's awesome. That's a great phrase. I love that. Investment-minded millennials. I'm sure a lot of the folks who are watching can resonate with that and probably like self-identify as such. What does that mean to you? Like, what are they doing for work? Like, how are they making these real estate decisions? Where are they getting inspired from? Like, tell us a little bit more about those people.
Yeah, so Bigger Pockets is based in Denver, and that's like inspired a lot of people. And I think that everyone who knows anyone that has wealth can really witness that it's coming from owning real estate. And so, the path is just like, I know I need to do this, but I need some guidance because I don't really know the tax code, or I don't understand the market, and I don't know a lender. So usually our first meeting is just kind of going over the basics to make sure they understand. And a lot of people, maybe their focus is just like, oh, I care about having nice countertops.
I want my dog to have a yard.
I want my dog to have a yard. But trying to kind of teach them the principles of investing in real estate, cash on cash return.
That's huge. Yeah, I mean, there's some principles absolutely that, and big shout out to Bigger Pockets. I mean, what an incredible, brand and explosion around just like providing education around making smart money decisions in real estate.
Yeah.
And for those who haven't checked out Bigger Pockets yet, like, shout out to them.
Yeah, they're really amazing.
Keep doing what they're doing.
So I started in real estate 4.5 years ago. Then I opened my own brokerage in January. And so that's been amazing. I have one broker that works with me, and I want to slow growth and really focus on mentorship, because what I see a lot in real estate, someone gets their license, and then all of a sudden they don't really have the training or mentorship that they need to actually become a really successful broker. So when I started my brokerage, I knew I wanted to do a few things different, and that's my big thing. So really focusing on educating one broker per year.
And you're more or less running your shop as opposed to perhaps having a managing broker being that boss for you, so to speak, right?
Yeah, and I have my own brand, so I'm Living Room Real Estate, Living Room DEN.
Nice.
On Instagram.
And I gotta tell you, your space here is awesome. I give you a ton of credit. And this is your second property now. You were sharing with me that not only are you a real estate professional, but I'm sure there's tons of folks who are real estate professionals out there that maybe haven't even gotten into investing for themselves yet. It sounds like you made it a point of pride and emphasis to be a homeowner and look at opportunities within the market to leverage your skill set for your own personal finances too. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. Tell me, what was it like planning for your first, and where were you renting before? Tell us about that journey a little bit.
Yeah, so I had an amazing setup in Wash Park, which is the most prestigious neighborhood in Denver.
Cool.
And I was paying $1,800 a month, and it was like one of those things that everyone thought I was crazy to give it up, because it was a 3-bed, 3-bath, like amazing house, a block from the park. And I was like, nope, I'm in real estate, I believe in real estate, I need to make this sacrifice. So I literally downgraded significantly.
Wow.
I went to Skyline neighborhood, which is not as nice of a neighborhood. And then I bought a 2-bed, 1-bath that needed to be completely remodeled.
Wow.
And my mortgage was $1,800 a month. So it was a huge sacrifice.
Totally.
But it was totally worth it. So I got my MBA in home remodels, doing that project.
Did you like have gloves? Were you doing some of the work yourself or no?
So I managed a lot of the work, and I did a lot of the design, and
Tacos are playing. Pretty.
I did some of the work, did some of the demo, but ended up hiring a lot of people, worked with a lot of professionals. and which was also important to have people to
Totally.
refer business to and build that community. So I remodeled that house, and I actually did this basement remodel guide
Whoa.
for when I finished the basement last summer, and then I was renting it out. So before the remodel, I was renting out the basement, and then after the remodel, I was renting it out for $1,200. So that $1,800 mortgage payment, I was renting it out for $1,200, and then I had a lot of intentions to stay in that house and
Yep.
actually build an accessory dwelling unit, which is I could have built 1,000 square feet of living above a garage, or it didn't have
For even more rental income.
for even more rental income. And then I was looking on the MLS, and then I saw this house, which was 1,000 square feet bigger, plus a 2-car garage, and the ADU would have cost $200,000 to build. And this property had the square footage plus the garage, and it was only about $75,000 more than the price of my
Wow.
existing home. So I was like, okay, that's like a no-brainer. I'll get into my second home. Down the road, I'd still
Yeah.
love to build an ADU at some point.
And so I gotta ask, right? So when you're looking at adding an ADU and looking at, okay, $200,000 there on the same property, but it's an additional rental unit, that you'd probably have to take on a loan that was either pretty hefty or pay for a fair amount out of pocket in that
Right.
rent. Whereas you moved in here as a primary residence.
Right.
You're living here. If you don't mind me asking, what percent down payment did you put on this place? Did you put a smaller amount down? Did you put a substantial? What was that like?
Yeah, so the ADU financing for it is really challenging. It would have almost had to be like cash or a HELOC. And I had some equity in my house that I could have used, but it was extremely challenging. And that's why this is so appealing, because I did 10% down. My private mortgage
No-brainer.
insurance is only $80 a month.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so and I could share the details. My mortgage payment is $3,000. So I have 3 roommates, so each person pays $1,000, and I'm living here for free.
So I want to backtrack
This
because
is a 5-bedroom.
this is an incredible hustle, because and this is what we talk about, right? Is when you know the rules of the game,
Yes.
you can play the game more efficiently and really learn how to have your cake and eat it too. So yeah, instead of having to do either an all cash $200K crazy reno
Yeah.
or do a variable rate HELOC
Mhm,
that
mhm.
rates could be going up and have that be a little stressful, to only get X amount of potential rental. Whereas here you put, call it 27,000, 30 grand on a down payment, much less than 200,
Yeah,
and we're able to take out probably a fixed rate mortgage here.
yeah. I got a 3.87.
Fixed minus less than
Yeah.
4%, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's something I want to emphasize too. Is I always remind folks: do you remember what interest rates were like in the 1980s? Like when we were born,
I've heard.
they were like teenage numbers. It was like 16%, 14% were the mortgage rates. I looked through old Sports Illustrated magazines just randomly. I think some diner had them like for sale, Life magazine, all this stuff, and they had advertisements for cars. And it was like brand new Ford pickup truck, low percent, 11% interest rate.